A lot of NHS trusts are now welcoming the use of AI when one is applying for jobs. And I've come across evidence of that. And look there. That is Nottinghamshire NHS Trust Foundation actually encouraging the use of AI for things like personal statement and applications. And the reason why I'm making this video is because this changes the whole terrain of how you are applying, or the whole view of how we have been applying. And one of the reasons why I've decided I'm going to make this video is because a lot of people have been talking, sharing different opinions as far as applying in the NHS is concerned. And I've had a lot of questions, a lot of feedback from a lot of people from last year, people going like, oh, should I apply using AI? Is it even allowed? Some trusts do actually say you're not encouraged to, but this is 2026, and I think finally some of these institutions are finally coming to the realization that you cannot do this without embracing technology. Technology is here and is here to stay. However, there is a catch. When we say the use of AI, when we say the use of all this technology and tools, this is not to replace your experience. However, what that does is it gives language to the skills that you have, to the qualifications that you have, to the experience that you have. And I'm going to go into detail in this video about all of that, because I'm one person who have used it several times. And in my coaching programs, which I do run through Facebook subscriptions, I do run interview coaching, application coaching, CV review, personal statement review to my subscribers. And I've seen massive feedback through that. No wonder why I'm openly sharing about it now. So if you're watching this video and you've been wanting to apply in the NHS but have been struggling, you are thinking, oh, my personal statement isn't up to the T, please go on Facebook, follow me, Florence Musekiwa, and also do subscribe, and then we'll get in touch with you and arrange for a one-to-one support session where we are showing you how to do it and realize success. So without wasting much of our time, let's get right into the crux of this video. So here is what happens. Most NHS applications are actually shortlisted using software like ATS and different other softwares that they use. Trusts do differ before an actual person can actually read through your application. However, what happens is that with these software and ATS systems and the like, they specifically look for certain keywords because they are programmed to look for certain keywords depending on their qualification level or depending on the banding that they're looking at. So sometimes when we talk about the keywords, it's to do with the skills, the experience, and the qualification mostly. Of course, your words do matter. Your words can express all of that explicitly and in a very good way. But I always say there is a time and place for everything. So if they are using software, if they are using AI to really shortlist and select people, you can imagine you matching your own words, your own way of thinking versus AI. Do you think you can win that battle? The answer to that. So what then AI does if you're making your own personal statement is it specifically matches your personal statement, your qualification using the specific words that the AI tool or the ATS system is likely to pick from your personal statement, from your application. That's how it shortlists you. Talking about, there's always a time for everything. You can save all the fancy words, all the words that you want to express for when you get shortlisted and you go to the interview stage. This is where it matters that the skills that you have articulated in your CV. This is where it matters that you know how to articulate that experience, those skills, and those competencies as well. So you will always get the time to explain all these things. You will have the time to actually showcase and sell yourself in an interview. But selection stage is the stage for you to know the strategies, to know the tips and the know-hows of how to get in through that door, because you will never get the chance to be interviewed unless you go through that door, unless you make it past the selection criteria, the selection stages, which is mostly being done by ATS systems based on a number of reasons. It takes less time for the system to select you. Large volumes of people do apply into these institutions. Roles have become more competitive. So definitely nobody can really be sifting through thousands, hundreds of CVs just to pick a few. So they rely on these systems. So our one job when we are applying is to make sure that we get through that system. One thing is the fact that AI can never invent experience. AI will never invent skills. You don't have that skill. You don't have it. And the AI tool will never invent that for you. A few days ago, I was sharing with someone in my coaching program that suppose the job that you're applying for requires NVQ level 3 and I don't have NVQ level 3. In as much as I can use the best software, the best AI tool that has ever been invented, if I don't have it, in as much as it can tailor make my personal statement, put in all the fancy words, put in all the language into my personal statement, what I will not invent. So what it does specifically is to give professional language to the things that you already have, to the qualifications, to the skills, to the competencies that you already have. I'll give you an example. In my own layman language and way of thinking, I would say I've got over 5 years care experience. But here is how AI would give language to this. It would say, I've provided compassionate care to 15 or more patients throughout a shift, including medication administration, wound care, and also escalation of any concerns to management or to the senior on shift. That is language that is readable. That is language that the ATS system or whatever software that they use for selection would be able to pick. You could add on things to do with safeguarding, things to do with following policies and procedures and protocols within their organization, adherence to agreed ways of working, policies and procedure of the organization. It could even add on the values of the trust that you're applying for. Now, this is rich language that the ATS tool would be loaded with to say, if someone is mentioning these things, then they are a fit for this role, they are a fit for this trust in particular. So basically, you do have the experience, you do have what it takes to learn that role. But however, sometimes what you would have put in your personal statement, what you would have put in your application may not be what the system is looking for. So therefore, you don't get shortlisted for interviews. It's not to say you are inadequate. It's not to say you don't have the skill. It's not to say that it's hard applying for these jobs, but you need to have a complete, clear, readable strategy when you're applying. One of the things that you should never do when you're using these AI tools and softwares is you should never let AI invent skills or competencies for you or qualifications for you. What you should know is that the AI tool is there to give language to the skills that you already have. Why? Because ATS systems can actually pick inconsistencies even as you are writing or as you are putting things into your personal statement in your application. The ATS system can actually pick inconsistencies and therefore you may be disqualified based on that. So the best way to really work with this is to be as very transparent as you can about what you have and what you don't have. Be explicit in explaining and prompting the AI tool. I think I'll make more videos as far as that is concerned because I've helped a lot of people apply for these roles. People have applied successfully and been shortlisted, and I have been applying several times, several opportunities, and I've also been shortlisted, so I know what I'm talking about. This is how people are getting into these spaces. If you're wondering why your friend that you've been discussing with and sharing, oh, it's so hard getting into the NHS, finally got in, these are some of the nuggets that they are not sharing with you. This is how they are navigating the whole system. And if you really want one-to-one support, please do join my Facebook subscription. That's where we are at. Go there, subscribe, and we will definitely schedule a one-to-one support session with you where we are helping you, where we're showing you how to do it so that you can do it on your own. So just always remember that using AI when you're doing your applications is not cheating, but it is actually a strategy. It's a tool that is acceptable, and I'm sure most trusts now are actually embracing the use of technology. I would say it's a smart way of communicating the skills that you already have, communicating the experience that you already have. And I'll also add on the fact that what it does is it's not coming up with new things, it's not coming up with new skills. However, it's just giving the skills that you already have, the language that the system already expects you to have certain skills based on your experience, based on the number of years that you have been in the system or in the industry. However, the only way for them to verify is when they pick certain words, certain language. So what the AI tool will do is to give whatever experience, whatever skills, whatever competences that you have, whatever strengths and weaknesses that you have, is to give it a more professional language, a more clear, readable, concise language that is favored by the system already, and also to increase chances of you getting an invite to an interview. I've come across people that are getting interviews left, right, and center, and I'm so excited. Just this morning, I was talking to someone who actually, after my consultation, they got 3 offers, went to 1 interview and got the job, and has had to cancel 2 other interviews. I've shared with you my story to say when I went into the NHS after hundreds and hundreds of applications, but when I eventually figured out the system, figured out how they favored certain specific language, cool. I went in and I applied, and I ended up with 3 offers, went to 1 interview, and I liked it there, and I had to cancel the other 2 interviews. So this can be you when you do the things that we're sharing with you here. We never share things just for the sake of sharing, but we do research, we do look for information, and we do try and test things before we can share with you. And this one, believe you me, I think it's 2026 and we need to start embracing technology. So this is all I had for you in this video. If you found it so helpful, please do subscribe and also put the notification bell. This year we're being intentional. We are tracking growth, because there's no point in really being in the system, being in the country 3, 4, 5 years and have nothing to show for it. This is the time for us to be pivoting, leveraging on certain opportunities, going for the kill, going for those opportunities, leveling, going up the ladder, going for those band 4 roles, going for those band 3 roles, getting into the NHS, getting into those specialist roles, going into management, going into leadership. But we can only do it when we change the direction in which we take the conversation as migrants. And I know a lot of you do struggle with really getting into these spaces. No wonder why I've come up with a beautiful community. My Facebook subscription, please do go there. Also do go and follow me. If you're on here and you haven't followed me on Facebook, go there, follow me, subscribe on here and also on Facebook, and we can give you one-to-one support with your applications, with your interview preparation, with your upscaling strategy, what you can do term, long term, for you then to start eyeing those care coordinator roles, care supervisor roles, team lead roles, deputy manager roles, specialist support worker roles. We all share on this platform. I do hope to see you in my next one. It's bye for now, and God bless you.